Good afternoon, good morning, and welcome back. So, read a couple of books this month, last month. Currently reading this right here. But yeah, these four right here are going to be the last couple of books that I read. Not really in any particular order. Like I said, in my previous videos, I bounced back and forth between reading books, reading manga. I believe I read Hooked, I want to say sometime in March? Maybe April? Strange Houses I just finished. Small Boat was a little bit before that. I think I read like 2 manga in between Strange Houses and Small Boat. Dragon Republic by R. Kwang was last month. And then right now I'm reading Burning God, the final book in the trilogy. I'm about 60 pages in. Really cool. But yeah, we'll get into these 4 books, how I found them, what my thoughts were, and maybe I'll read a little bit from each of them, and we can talk about it. So starting off with Hooked by Asaka Yuzuki, who is also the author of the international bestseller Butter. I read Butter when it released. Unfortunately, my copy of Butter is back at home with my sister. It's okay. I think she's read it as well. Actually, I think that's one of the books that we both picked up copies on separate occasions. So there's 2 in our library at home. But here right now, we got Hooked, which came out, I think, earlier this year. And this follows a story about Eriko, who is an obsessive person, and she has built this obsession with a blogger online named Shoko. And I'm actually blanking on what Shoko's blogger name was, which is interesting. But I feel like because we find out Shoko's identity pretty fast. There's really no slow point in this book. I feel like it is paced really well, and just to kind of give you an idea of how crazy this read is. Ooh, yeah, right here. This is like a little snippet. The next thing she knew, Eriko's fingers were buried in her hair, tugging at it. This was a bad habit of hers that she'd quit with great difficulty at the age of 16. But doing it again, now she felt that familiar comfort come surging back. With something approaching nostalgia, she gazed down at the single hair now lying in her palm. She liked the raw sensation on her scalp, and she knew that once she pulled out one, it was impossible to stop. The sight of the glistening root brought on a shudder, a mixture of excitement and horror. On she went, pulling out one hair after another, until a pile like a faint black shadow had formed on top of her desk. And then I wrote, oh, she's actually insane. Plus a stalker. This was pretty early. We're only at page 84, and she's already losing it. But right away, Eriko starts showing up at Shoko's frequented locations. She starts to pinpoint where she goes based on like her blog posts, and it just turns into this obsessive stalker behavior. And you come to find out this is not the first time that Eriko did this, but flip the script a little bit, and Shoko also has some personality traits that don't make her seem any more sane than Eriko did. If anything, Shoko was the worst type of person for Eriko to become addicted to, and it's kind of crazy. But this was a really fun read. Which was interesting because Butter was also pretty solid, but I would rank Hooked higher than Butter, especially because with Butter, it took me a bit to like get through it. Whereas Hooked, I just blasted through the entire book. I feel like I had a pretty good amount of annotations in it. Nothing too crazy, but this was a pretty solid book, and I enjoyed the story, and I'm looking forward to more of her works. and we will move on. Excuse the humidity and condensation. Moving on. This was my most recent read. I've been wanting to pick up these books for a while. I've heard nothing but good things, and funny enough, I was at a tattoo appointment last month, if I recall, and my artist, she's amazing, but she had me check the placement on my piece, and we've talked about it before, but she has books and literature all over the place. Sorry for my hand moving so quick. And she had Babel by R.F. Kuang on one of her shelves, and then she had Strange Houses by Ugetsu on another shelf. And the aesthetic of this book is really cool. It just looks cool to have it. You know, the architecture, the Japanese, the kanji and hiragana on it. Creepy little photo over here. Single name author. The color of it's just aesthetically pleasing. But I asked her about it, and she thought it was a pretty fun read. It's basically it just says right there, chilling Japanese mystery sensation. You basically are following along this author who is trying to figure out what's up with these houses. And, on the first page, you're given the layout of the house, and you get a quick little synopsis. It's this is the floor plan of a certain house. Do you see anything strange about it? At first glance, it probably looks totally normal, like a house anyone might live in. But if you look very closely, you might notice things here and there that seem somehow off. Those off details pile up and link together to lead to one inescapable truth. A truth so terrifying, you won't want to believe it. And you get to look at the houses, or the layout, the blueprint, and it's kind of funny because I play a lot of RPGs and stuff like that, and I feel like games like that usually have a pretty decent amount of problem solving, and I feel like if you've looked at floor plans at any point in your life, you kind of have an idea of like, these are weird, right? And then the book just kind of breaks down these points of them figuring things out and being like, yo, this is kind of crazy. I don't want to go too far because it's spoilers, but let's go somewhere in the beginning. It's a fun little read if you like mystery, a little bit of horror. It's more like oh shit, that's kind of crazy. So here was my revelation. So Kurihara, his friend, do you know who had this house built? The previous owners. I heard it was a family of 3. A couple with a small child. Small? How small? Do you know how old the child was? I'm afraid I didn't ask. What's it got to do with anything? To tell the truth, I thought there was something seriously off about this house the moment I saw the plan. You did? What? I didn't notice anything, apart from that dead space. The second floor is all wrong. Look at the child's room. Do you notice anything odd about it? Well, wait, hold on a minute. And then you look. And this was me figuring that out off rip. The child's room is trapped between the main bedroom by a useless hallway. So if you come up the stairs, okay, you don't know this is here unless you've been over here. So you have to go upstairs through this hallway and through this hallway to get to this. And what child's room has no windows? Just crazy. And the mystery just deepens because there ends up being plural houses, and it's just a really fun story, and I really want to pick up the second book. I believe it's the purple one. I actually forgot the title, but pretty cool. And I told myself I was going to check out his YouTube videos because he is a YouTuber. But this was a fun little read. It's only trying not to 189 pages. 189 pages. Can knock that out pretty solid. Next up, we got Dragon Republic, the second book in the Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. When I say this story is probably my favorite fantasy read right now. Like I mentioned this in my not last video, but my first video. I've been reading her books backwards as far as release dates. I read Catabasis. I read that first. I saw a post about it by Yunia. And I was like, let's go get this. And I was like, wow, where has this book been? And then I read Babel. And then I read The Poppy War. I haven't read Yellowface yet. And Taipei Story hasn't come out yet. But that's already about to be ordered. But yeah, Dragon Republic is the second book in the installments. We are still following Rin, and there is some events that transpire in this book that are insane. We have the death of a lot of characters. We have the revelation that other characters are not dead. We have Rin joining Naja's father of all people in their crusade or their conquest to dethrone Daji. And you learn more about the Phoenix abilities, you learn more about the Pantheon, you learn about the Hesperians. Actually, they become a pretty prominent force in this book. Yeah, I love Rin's story. I think it's fantastic. We can find something. Ooh, this is pretty spoiler free right here. She didn't want to tell him that she'd been trying. That every night she climbed up to the same clearing where no one would see her, took a dose of Chagon's stupid blue powder, approached the seal, and tried to burn the ghost of Alton out of her mind. It never worked. She could never bring herself to hurt him. Not that wonderful version of Alton that she'd never known. When she tried to fight him, he grew angry, and then he reminded her why she'd always been terrified of him. Insanely good. R.F. Kuang, Rebecca Kuang is a sensational writer. It is such a masterpiece of a book. Like I said, I'm in the middle of Burning God right now, and we're gonna cook this weekend. Well, it's already Sunday, but the rest of the week I'm gonna be reading that, and I'll be reading a little bit tonight. But yeah, if you like fantasy, if you like combat, deception, the shattering of trust story kind of thing, this is a 5 out of 5. This entire trilogy is so damn good. And there's usually like a book in a trilogy that is always like a little lackluster, but I didn't feel that way with any of them. Poppy War was super good of a start. Dragon Republic is a great middle ground, and so far Burning God, if it wasn't for the fact that I have other things to do than read, I would blast through that book super fast. Now, this was, I read Small Boats a little bit before Strange Houses. I read like 2 or 3 manga volumes in between the two. But Small Boat by Vincent Delacroix. I found this book through Melissa, Post Office Girl. I don't know what her YouTube handle is. Her Instagram is the Post Office Girl. I think her YouTube is Melissa. And Dua Lipa, she also recommended this book. But I found it through Melissa, aka the Post Office Girl first. And funny enough, this is another book that when I found it at the store, my sister was also talking about that she was looking for a copy as well. So I might ship this back home, but I do like having it here, so maybe I'll just buy her own. But yeah, this is a very, very cool book. We get to see the point of view of the individual who was the, I guess, like radio safety operator. I forgot what the exact position was, but basically a boat was lost in the waters, refugees, but they were in between the border of two different countries. And the individual from this country pretty much let them drown. And it follows what they were thinking. Let me see if I can find a snippet. Let's look at the first. Oh, first notation was a quote. Let's look at. Let's see this one right here. Oh yeah. So, sensing my reluctance to go down that road, she ended up implying, with increasingly fake sympathy, that, after all, she was for sure there to help me confront what had happened. "You really don't look very well," she even dared say, and, "you look like you're at breaking point." Of course, I had to smile at this expression because not only my job, but even my physical and topographical situation, the place where I do my job, was literally at breaking point. Watching the waves break on the shore without getting wet, this whole episode, a tale of wordplay, expressions which may or may not apply literally, extended metaphors, as we learned to say at college. This whole episode, words on the page, words in your mouth, as if I had come to see her because I was haunted by the episode and couldn't sleep. The writing in this book is insane. Ooh, here's a line I underlined. "I get the feeling those 29 people weren't the only ones who sank that night." Crazy. And you get like a couple of pages of the thoughts going through the mind of the survivors. Well, not survivors. The people involved in the small boat incident. But yeah, this is a really another quick little read. I believe the book is about 100-ish pages. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, it's not in my usual fantasy shonen realm, but I do like venturing a little bit out of my usual comfort zone. It's good to explore, especially if you can find something that is recommended by people you hold their what's the word? Opinions pretty high. And like I said, I've been following The Post Office Girl for a while. This is the second book I've read from her. Maybe third. Actually, it's about to be 4. Yeah. But so far, it hasn't let me down at all. And that's not in my realm of what I usually read, because I normally am in that fantasy, sci-fi area. You know, with Red Rising, Dragon Republic, oh, I guess Poppy War, the Red Rising series, Chainsaw Man being my favorite anime / manga. But yeah, just to reiterate, Small Boat, Miss de la Croix, I give this a 4 out of 5, just because it's not my personal like first kind of pick, but for something out of my comfort zone, super solid. Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, I will give this a 5 out of 5. This had me at the edge of my seat. This had me pacing. This had me have to close the book and think about my life a little bit. Strange Houses by Uketsu, I give this like a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I like the horror mystery vibe. It is a little short and quick read. But this is a solid book. Hooked by Asako Yusuki, I'll also give like a 3.5 out of 4 out of 5 stars. Solid book. Like I said, I did like this one better than Butter. And when we come back, we will be reading we'll be going through the Burning God a little bit. I'll read a little snippet here. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts about any of these, Hooked, Strange Houses, Dragon Republic, Small Boat, let me know. Maybe you can throw me a recommendation, or whatever, really. But as always, thank you guys for stopping in, checking it out. And yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this little trend going of a couple of books that I've read and then a couple of manga that I've read, just because I bounce between the two. I feel like I was talking a little quicker than normal today. But other than that, if you liked the video, throw me a comment, a like, subscribe. If not, it's okay. But I'll see you guys next time with 4 or 5 manga that I've read. While I work my way through some books. Dragon Republic is a bit of a big one, so we'll get through that eventually. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next time. See ya.